Okay, so I was going to do a live breakdown of the trailer and reaction to it when it first came out, but my audio through it just broke when I was trying to record it. Fortunately, I was able to get some of that footage, but unfortunately my reaction to that is kind of gone. So I'm going to be doing a live breakdown of the trailer. We're going to go over absolutely everything, like absolutely everything in this trailer. So yeah, let's just begin.
Fine, I'll do it myself.
So the first thing that we have is Dr. Xenon saying the famous line that she had in a previous teaser, "Fine, I'll do it myself," which is probably taken from a later point in the game.
Status report. Where is her ship?
No signs, sir.
She may be using stealth tech, sir.
Now, next scene that we see is very, very interesting. We have a massive GDA spaceship, and I was talking about this.
Status report. Where is her ship?
No signs, sir.
She may be using stealth tech, sir.
I literally said this before. The GDA have spacefaring technology. This is a spacefaring organization. This is not it's just the US military. This is an actual spacefaring organization that is able to go throughout the cosmos and track things down. Same thing with Dr. Xenon. She has a ship of her own that the GDA are trying to track down here. And this is just very big for a multiplicity of reasons. But yeah, this is actually insane. Another thing that I want to note here is the fact that these cutscenes appear to be rendered for the game itself. This doesn't seem to be like pre-rendered cutscenes for just the sake of a trailer. I feel like Nightmare itself is actually going to have cutscenes just because of the way that it's shot. It doesn't lead itself very much to being just like trailer scenes. Like this feels like Nightmare's actually gonna have cutscenes. We see Advisor here. Advisor's looking great, by the way, with a Juggernaut in the back as a guard. But Advisor here he sounds very upset. They are tracking down Dr. Xenon's spaceship, which I theorized, why, if she has a base on Earth, why is she not been found yet? Well, it makes sense for her to have her own spaceship. This is how she's able to drop the avatars. Later in the trailer, this is how we see that she has her own drop pods. This is how she's able to escape detection from the GDA. She has her own spaceship. I would like to think of it kind of like the Nemesis from Transformers, the Decepticon spaceship that they have floating around the planet. So that's pretty interesting to see. We also see Advisor sounds actually pretty angry here. He's not his usual self here. It would probably stand to reason that he and Xenon's history is going to be explored here a lot, which is nice to see. Then we see this guy that just looks like Donald from Invincible. And right next to him is the XWM turret pilot. This is pretty interesting for a multitude of reasons. The troops in the GDA army are cloned. We see multiple versions of them, and throughout the modes, the characters talk about using themselves as bait, like John, for example. So all the troops are cloned, but it is interesting to see that the GDA has some of their own, normal fighting troops also work in other positions. Next, we get a shot of Dr. Xenon's spaceship with all of the Eradicators lined up in some sort of cargo bay while a door opens, which is very cool to see. Next is just some shots of some map. A lot of really cool shots here. The first one appears to be of a GDA base, heavily defended, with lots of defenses built all around. The second shot is of a massive destroyed city. We see the main GDA spaceship up in the sky and the Xenon spaceship up in the sky opposite to it. There's also a lot of these mounted turrets everywhere that I will touch on later on in the trailer, but this is really cool to see. The third spot, very interesting. It is a Calamity Temple with what appears to be ancient, markings all around, but it is a Calamity Temple with an Awakened era Void Heart. This is probably the most interesting image of all, because it's a Void Heart, which ties back into the Void from Tower Battles. But it's also got the Awakened corruption around it, which means that the Awakened likely used this place as a staging ground of some sort. But there's also GDA flags. We can tell it's GDA because it's an eagle, and there's also mounted turrets everywhere still. So this is still a very interesting shot. Next we have what can only be the Calamity's dimension. It is so abstract. This has to just be the Calamity's dimension. And finally we get a shot of Gun. Now it does appear that Gun is just a map prop. unfortunately. Maybe he'll come to life, maybe he'll be the friendly boss, but at least this version of gun that we're seeing right here, it just seems to be a map prop, even if he does look at you, even if his eyes do move to look at the camera there. Next, we get another cutscene shot of the War Machine being deployed, which is very cool. And then we cut to gameplay. And yeah, there's just a lot here to talk about. So we have some expert enemies reused, which I think is fine. Let's not have a whole conniption about, oh, reused enemies. It's fine, because they're probably going to be used earlier. Then we have a lot of new enemies as well. We have this guy with two massive, like, saw guns on his hands. He looks like an enemy from Doom, which is pretty cool to see. Then we have this shot, which shows the Jaeger enemy. We can see one in the front. It shoots out 5 lasers. Then it does a cartwheel, and we can see arms on the back of it start bending to start moving. We also see some other enemies in the back, an Alpha Predator shooting missiles, the Avatar Mark IIs, and the weird Artemis guys. We have the War Machines, and the War Machine, Zed, Behemoth, and Golden Mobster unit. They're all walking. We can see a Forge Industries building in the back. There's also I don't really know what that is. There's like a turret in the back, but once again, we'll get to that once there's a better view. Another thing that we see that's very interesting, there seems to be a no path map as we see 2 War Machines come out of this area, and they're in completely different spots. So we might actually be looking at a no path map in Nightmare mode. Then of course we get more shots of War Machine as it moves around. We have some X-Soldiers charging through, some Artemis looking dudes coming in from the top, and a weird looking guy with a nuclear symbol on his chest. We see Xenon drop pods, X-Ordinals with X-Juggernauts, and the Arad soldiers blitzing through, more Arad soldiers, another VX drone. In the next shot here, we see X-Juggernauts alongside a Behemoth tank, and then there's another VX drone kind of in the back as the shot closes away. This shot has a lot going on here. Like, how do I even put this into words? So we have a Xenon tank coming in from the side, jet troopers everywhere, this weird bounded looking guy, but he's got weapons on his hands, shield generators out the wazoo, a destructor in the middle calling in a thunderstorm, fire just raging right here, what I can only assume to be combat medic kind of standing right next to a Golden Ranger, missiles being shot. This is pandemonium. This is what I love about TDX. This image, this shot right here is probably everything I love about TDX. We have Mark II dropping down from the sky. So I can only assume this is going to happen later in the mode. She's going to have her minions drop on down from her spaceship. And then we have the Emperor in all of his glory. And the Emperor is gigantic here. We can see that he's at least 3 times the size of most of the towers. We see that he appears to be able to stop time, which is a whole other level of insane. Like, I don't really know what to say here other than the Tower Blitz versus TDX video is now an actual question, and the people who were like saying that, oh, well, it's not even a question, oh, Tower Blitz is, oh, they're too powerful. Now it's an actual question, because here we have the Emperor Eradicator just straight up able to stop time. Straight up able to stop time. And he's able to move in stopped time and attack, which is insane. That is an insane level of power to have. We have more of the Xenon tanks moving in here in this next shot. AA turrets, refractors, the shield generators, jet troopers everywhere. We have the enemy jets moving in all directions. We got some weird looking dudes. The tanks moving in on both sides. This is a multi-path map, by the way. Railgunners up on the bridge. Weird, like, I don't even know what this is. Like, a lot of this is enemies you've seen before, but this thing is weird. There's also this turret thing in the back, but it's not attacking, so I'm not really sure what it's doing. We have War Machine here, missiles, something screaming for the GDA as we have every single spawner in Halloween Chapter 3. And this is Mallory. This is Dr. Mallory. This is Dea Vindicta in all her glory. And I know it's Dea Vindicta because you can see the halo above her head. We can Also see the wings, which lines up with her depictions that we've seen in the Halloween event. This is insane, because this means either A, this is the friendly boss and the Calamity are actually going to help us kill Dr. Xenon as a mutual interest, or Mallory is going to become so upset with the GDA and Xenon having their final battle, she's just going to come in at the last second and third party. The Emperor is probably not even the final boss. Perhaps he's a fake-out boss that I think that the Emperor is actually going to be so incredibly strong that we don't actually kill him. Mallory's actually going to come in and kill him for us, and then she's going to be the actual final boss. That's my guess. That is my huge guess with what's going on here with the Emperor. And then finally we have Alpha Predator throwing a missile. Jack thought this was stupid when we were watching it. I think it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. That's great. Throwing a missile. And then we end on the money shot, which 10/11/2025 is coming October the 11th. Pretty late. I kind of wish it came out this month, but I also understand that they want to just kind of have everything wrapped up. But yeah, that's my trailer analysis. Insane. Absolutely insane. I didn't think that Nightmare would be that crazy. I didn't think the trailer would be that crazy, but yeah. That's really all I got. See ya.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
Status report. Where is her ship?
No thanks, sir.
She may be using stealth tech, sir.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh my god. We have robots.
Xenon is dropped.